Today's vlog is in fact a rant. So I like making videos and content, and I've kind of shifted away from some of the other formats. First of all, doing a vlog like this is a lot quicker, it's a lot easier, so I can produce more. But the second thing is, as I dig into sources, resources, and where things might have come from or where they originally came from, I'm finding that I didn't know the sources and origin for a lot of the things that I just assumed were common practice and actually had a history behind them. And in many cases, either the authors wrote it intentionally deceiving the folks that are going to be reading their books, or they themselves were convinced and wrote what they thought was true because they were told it was. The more I look into and research some of this stuff, I'm finding that there are either some commonalities or it's just straight up fabrication or made up. Now, I want to give some acknowledgement to the fact that any spiritual path or spiritual practice, in my opinion, is made up. As humans, we try to access divine forces, whether that be through religion or through magic and mysticism. We're looking for some sort of spiritual experience. And by our observations, we share our thoughts with others, our community, and it grows. And then you have common practices and cultural practices that develop and get passed down. Now, in today's day and age, we have the internet. We have the ability to travel easily. People are going to different countries and they're mixing in with different communities and they're bringing things with them. So there's this vast array of different influences that we see. So it's no longer localized tribes and communities. We now have broader influences and things that are brought overseas through the internet or through, airplanes and boats. Like there's all these different ways to get this information. So with that in mind, people have a tendency to evolve in a way, maybe even de-evolve their spirituality and kind of come up with new things. So when I share thoughts and opinions, it's my analysis of things that I've read or have learned. In some cases, I've had the opportunity to go to like specialized schools. There are colleges that teach metaphysical stuff and you can take classes. There's a whole bunch of them all around the US, and there'll be people who give you like certifications to be like Reiki certified or theta healing certified, which I've done both of those. Quantum vibrational healing. They have meditation classes. You can take Tai Chi. Tai Chi Chuan is it's something different, but a lot of people use it for spiritual purposes and not the actual martial art application. And then you can go through online things like ADF, or you can go through the Official Witch of Salem. Larry Cabot has an online course. There is the Gray School of Wizardry. There's OBOD, Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids. My point is there's a whole bunch of different places to get this stuff from. There's even secret organizations. There's like different sects of Wicca where you have to be initiated, and it's all closed door and you have to elevate through it. And there are closed doors of like Zoroastrianism and different types of spirituality. So when you go through the path, they have one way of teaching it. The Freemasons, I don't know much about them, but I know they have their own ceremonial type magic rituals that are unique to that group. So again, there's all this influence, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. What I'm trying to get at is there's a whole bunch of information out there. And for somebody who's seeking, which I'm assuming you're seeking, otherwise why would you be on my channel? Maybe you're just here to listen. But if you are seeking, like myself, you want to know what authentic sources are, you want to know where things came from, and you want to know what you're talking about. I'm coming to find out that even though I've been looking at a lot of this stuff for going on 30 years, I don't really know much of anything. The more I learn, the more I realize like, wow, all these assumptions. So when I'm sharing this stuff and I'm trying to unveil it, I'm getting comments. I'm getting comments where people are telling me I'm wrong. And that's fine. If I'm wrong, great. That's what I'm seeking is truth. I'm seeking answers. That's why I'm sharing my resources. Now, the resources that I've been sharing as of lately is looking for almost confirmation bias to a degree. I do try to look at both sides, but because of all of the hearsay or things that I've read out of books with unverifiable sources, and it's just because the author said so, I'm finding myself re-questioning that. So I remember something I read about or talked about, then I go look it up online to try to look for details so I can share with you a source and a reference. I try to express, if it's my opinion, I try to express if I just heard it somewhere so you at least know where it's coming from and it's not just like me pulling it out of my rear. But just bear in mind, the reason I have sources, some of them are older sources because I started collecting online sources probably about, I don't even know, I'd have to look at my OneNote where I started to, regardless, at least 5 years ago, and maybe a little bit further back, I started writing down things on a OneNote and having hyperlinks so I can go reference them again. And of course, I have all my books and stuff too. So I'm trying to bring up where I remember it from. But I'm trying to avoid using too many books. I'm trying to use more online sources so that I can share them with you. So I can send you to YouTube channels or vlogs or articles or, history.com links, things like that, so that you can check it out for yourself. Or if they're original sources that are reprinted, like some of the old Eddas and Sagas, giving you a link to them so you can read them for yourself. I think it's important to empower you to find that information for yourself. So if somebody comes at me and says I'm wrong, I need that. Give me the source. If you are going to tell me I'm wrong because you said so, you're wasting your time. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, you're full of it. And the reason I say that is because how do I know that you're a verified source or where you got it from was a verified source? Is it hearsay? Did you read it somewhere? Did someone tell it to you? And whoever told it to you or where you read it, how do you know that they were telling you the truth or they were right? The two biggest places I've been getting comments like that is I have What is Magic and Who Can Practice It. I've been having some comments lately. And the difference between a witch and a warlock, I get a lot of comments on that because everybody's so sure what warlocks are. And then I get other comments on a lot of other videos, but those are the two that have inspired this rant for today, is like, I welcome the counterpoints, but back them up. Back them up with a source. Even if it's not a good source, you have to present your source, because just random comments online from some unknown faceless entity is not something I'm going to take into much account. Okay, let me take that back. If you say something, I will do some Googling online and looking through different websites, digging and researching with the way I do online research. I've done a video on that, what the approach is that I take. And I'll see if I can find confirmation for what you're claiming. In some cases, I have such outlandish comments or comments that I just know are false that I don't even bother. And I just respond with additional information and I share my resources and I back up what I'm saying. I don't expect you to just believe me because I say so. Well, Blaze said it on his YouTube channel. So what? I'm some random guy sitting in his office recording videos about a topic he loves. That doesn't make me an expert or know-it-all. I don't have any professional training in this type of stuff. I mean, sure, I've got some of the certification stuff, but I mostly am like a lay scholar who goes out and researches things on his own. And even the certifications and stuff, like I said, I mean, it's like one person who has a degree in this, that, or whatever else. It's like, okay, that's what makes them certified to be teaching someone, and just because you learn from it, does that make you an expert, or does that just make you competent enough to use that skill set? You know what I mean? It comes down to that. I wouldn't trust or believe anyone. I would check with multiple sources. Even if you find someone who has a doctorate degree, which is, I'm sorry, I've got this huge kick on finding folks that have doctorate degrees or peer-reviewed papers, actual work that is respected amongst the community. Those are the people that I'm loving finding their content. I'm finding a whole bunch of channels like that, which again, I've shared in a different video. That's the type of stuff I'm after. People just randomly saying it because your mom said, or your best friend said, or you read it in a book one time. The worst is the folks that read it in a book once or had someone tell them, and they're so convinced that that's true and right, but they refuse to tell you where they got it from. I've shut down most of the arguments by asking for a source. Nothing. In some cases, I will ask for a source and they hit me back with, what's your source? And I respond. And that's not just a recent comment. I've actually had that happen quite a few times. So yeah, these vlogs and this YouTube channel is not about arguing or criticizing. It's about sharing information. I like talking about something I'm passionate about. I like sharing information, and I love teaching. So I'm here to speak about things that I've come across and thoughts that I've had. So if you enjoy them, jump in, share your thoughts back. I mean, let's have an actual discussion. If I do have something wrong, like I said, give me those resources and I'll add it to my list. I'm saving a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a huge list of tabs, like they're growing. I don't even know how many tabs I have at this point. Probably close to 100, I would imagine. with different types of topics and subjects and links. And there is so much I have to read and continue to dig into, because it's just, wow, so much repeated information, and not realizing that some of it has a similar source and it comes from one spot and people just don't know. And how much I'm enjoying learning where this stuff came from, or who originally thought of it, or what it's an adaptation from, fills me with joy, and I just can't help but want to share it with others. So anyway, that's it. That's my rant for the day. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next one.